Thank y'all for tuning in to Wisdom Seekers once again. And yeah, we're at the top of the morning right now. And yeah, we're gonna be talking about direction today. So I hope all y'all have a good day. As a matter of fact, y'all get through listening to this video. Hope y'all have a great day. Going out in the world, doing what you gotta do, make yourself better. But yeah, direction. We know direction is like telling somebody how to go somewhere. You go down there, you go down here. Go do that, you go do this. We know that's direction, right? Then we know direction is like somebody that guides you or whatever the case. You know what I mean? Like a director. All right. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the word direction because we already know it ends up going somewhere we don't typically expect it to go. All right. So that being said, direction. Direction is a course along which someone or something moves. A course along which someone or something moves, right? A point to or from which a person or thing moves or faces. Okay? A general way in which someone or something is developed. A general way in which someone or something is developed. Let me make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see better. Well, it's a general way in which someone or something is developing. In which someone or something is developing. Right? General aim or purpose. The management or guidance of someone or something. The work of supervising and controlling the actors and other staff in a movie, play, or production or other production. Instructions on how to reach a destination or about how to do something. An authoritative order or command. All right, so if y'all understand that direction always comes from something else or someone else for the most part, right? Unless you're going on a course along with someone or something moves, right? It's a course. The direction is also a course. All right? A course of action. So we get down to the origin of the word. It's late Middle English in direction, sense to. Okay? From Latin, direction. From the verb, dirigere, see, direct. All right, so in the second is the management or guidance of someone or something. Right? Because it says sense two. That's sense one, sense two. Okay? They're saying the word direct comes from this type of direction. The management or guidance of someone or something. Okay? Check out the synonyms. Government, regulation, orchestration, control, command, rule, conduct, handling, running, overseeing, masterminding, leadership, or guidance. All right? Now, let's go to direct. Direct. Direct is extending or moving from one place to another by the shortest way without changing direction or stopping. All right, the shortest way to get somewhere without changing direction or stopping. They say actually the moving, you know what I'm saying, moving from one place to another. All right? Not saying it's necessarily stopping, but definitely, okay, let's look at the astronomy and astrology meaning of apparent planetary motion, proceeding from west to east in accord with actual motion, okay? In accord with actual motion, understand? We're talking about something that's actually moving. All right, so without intervening factors or intermediaries. This is where I want to stop at right here. This is the meat of what this is the angle that I'm taking on. without intervening factors or intermediaries. So direct means like direct to the source, like no middleman, right? So right here you see you got face to face, and you got from the horse's mouth, right? Head on, unmediated, first hand, TT or TT, immediate, right? Immediate, right? Face to face, the main thing caught my attention. Face to face and from the horse's mouth. So let's keep on scrolling down. See what else it could mean. Gonna go to the order. Let me see. Of a person or their behavior, going straight to the point, frank. Right, so let's check out the order. Because y'all know I'm going somewhere with the madness, so I'm trying not to veer off too far to the left or right. So the word direct means put straight, like give it to me straight. No cut, no chaser, basically, right? From the horse's mouth. Face to face. Face to face means with the people involved being close together and looking directly at each other. Right? The next definition is indirect confrontation. Indirect confrontation. All right? So now, from the horse's mouth means of information from the person directly concerned or another authoritative source. Right? Of information from the person directly concerned or another authoritative source. Y'all gonna understand why I'm making these emphases in 1 minute. Confrontation. Confrontation is a hostile or argumentative meeting or situation between opposing parties. Excuse me. All right, so we're talking about conflicts, talking about going head to head, facing out. And now this is what caught my attention. High noon. High noon. So a confrontation is in high noon. A hostile or argumentative meeting or situation between opposing parties. Right? Talking about high noon. Let's go to high noon right quick. High noon means midday. Midday. Second definition is an event or confrontation, which is likely to decide the final outcome of a situation, right? It's likely to decide the final outcome of the situation, an event or confrontation. Okay? So any events in the world, any confrontation that you have, all right, are likely to decide the final outcome of a situation. Okay? So that's what high noon is for. High noon is an event or a confrontation which is likely to decide the final outcome of a situation. All right, so now, the reason why this is so interesting, because we come from the word direction and we end up on high noon. So when we read our biblical scriptures and we see things we see high noon as referenced and seeing God face to face and, and all these types of things, it makes you understand what's going on. It makes you understand a little bit more. When we say God moved not necessarily God moved, but, when they mention midday or in the midst or something or, stuff like that. I'm just trying to give you guys a different insight on how to look at these words. Okay, let me keep going. All right, so now we got intervene, right? So why I get to the word intervene? Show you how I get to the word intervene. I'm gonna say it back here somewhere. I think y'all may remember reading this. Nobody to intervene. All right. So second definition, right, of direct was without intervening factors or intermediaries, Remember I told y'all that's what the definition was, right? Boom. It was face to face and all that. So now let's go to intervene. What is intervene? Intervene means to come between so as to prevent or alter a result or course of events. So when somebody comes to intervene, they are coming in between to prevent, right? If they can't prevent it, they want to alter. What do they want to alter? A result or course of events, right? So instead of getting 100%, you get 50% or 60% or 80%. It's altered. You're not getting the 100% real thing. It's cut. Got cut on it. That's basically what it means, to have cut on it. All right? Of an event or circumstance occur as a delay or obstacle to something being done, right? Of an event or a circumstance occur as a delay or obstacle to something being done, right? You know, in life, we live life, and it always seems to be obstacles, certain circumstances and events that delay our direction, that delay where we're trying to go, right? So that's like what we would call, I guess, Satan or evil or, things like that. But it's probably better to look at it as just pure well, it is resistance, right? And we look at it as resistance, blockage. But in order to become more powerful, in order to become strong, sometimes you need a certain amount of resistance. If you're lifting weights or something like that, you need resistance in order to strengthen your muscles. So it's like that. So if your brain is a muscle, you need resistance as far as like dealing with information that you're not used to dealing with. You know what I mean? Doing something new, pushing yourself to think in ways or to look at things you wouldn't normally look at or learn things you didn't know. That's pushing, that's giving resistance to the brain so that it can grow. All right, so it's like a seed being pressured. You know what I'm saying? It's pressure when it's a seed. And it need resistance. Like the ground to stand to be in, so they can have something to push out against, push off from. All right, but y'all get what I'm saying, because that ain't the idea I'm trying to. All right. So I'll just let y'all know where this word comes from, right? The intervening, right? And it's to come in between, right? Event or alter the result of course of events. Right, so that was the main idea about that. So now, the word intervene is late 16th century, in a sense, come in as an extraneous or extraneous factor or thing. Come in as an extraneous factor or thing, right? So now, remember I was saying that we kind of like need resistance or whatever in order to get where we got to go. And a lot of times we'll look at it as bad, but all things work for the good. All things work for the good of those who believe or whatever the case, or for ones that know. Is how I look at it. All things work for the good for the ones that know. All right. So let's go ahead and deal with this word extraneous. Word extraneous. All right. Well, first of all, I want to show y'all something else. Because obviously, I had it up for it. So we're dealing with this word. Okay, we got materialize. Got this up. Let me go back this way. All right, so let me go to intermediate first for y'all. Intermediate. So we know, say, intervene or intermediate. So what's an intermediate? An intermediate is coming between two things in time, place, order, character, etc. So it's coming between two things. Intermediate, middle, comes in between two things, right? It comes in between the decision of doing this or doing that, All right. So intermediate thing, a person at an intermediate level of knowledge or skill. Okay? A person at an intermediate level of knowledge or skill. A chemical compound formed by one reaction and then taking part in another, especially during synthesis. Okay? Synthesis. That's like what your skin do. Like when the sun hits your skin, it synthesizes the melanin in your blood, which is pigment. It synthesizes the pigment in your skin, and then then you start activating the enzymes and all that type of stuff, or glucose and all that, and you start eating. All right, synthesizing the same thing as like reproduction, stuff like that. Is when two things comes together and start and make a process and process another thing. It's synthesis. All right. So one is two things making one thing. All right. So now, going act as an intermediary or mediate. Okay, so the word means between and middle, all right? Between the middle. We know what that means already. So I just want y'all to understand. So the reason why I showed y'all this, because of opposing parties, noon confrontation. So y'all that because y'all remember the word back here. Direct. Very direct. Without intervening factors or intermediaries. Okay? So without somebody to come between course of action. Without coming between the two things in the place, time, character, okay? And halfway. Without having or suitable for a level of knowledge or skill between basic and advanced, right? Having or suitable for a level of knowledge, right? Or skill between basic and advanced. So you don't have nothing in between saying your knowledge is basic or advanced. Just the knowledge is just the knowledge. The truth is just the truth, all right? So it was a reason why I clicked on the word immaterial. It was a synonym with another word. I can't quite see why I clicked on it. Thirds too, for some reason. But anyway, I went through all that to show you this though. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Okay? People say, hey man, they say no man has ever saw God's face and all that. So this is a contradiction. No, it's not a contradiction, right? In the other passages, I guarantee you, they talking about they letting you know. Well, I know God guarantee you, but I know they let you know that God is not a man in flesh and blood. Like see what I'm saying? I mean, he is a man in flesh and blood, but he's not. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Not nothing you gonna touch. Put it that way. Can't touch life. You can see life in work. See life do work, but you can't touch it. So it's like that, in the sense. To me, that's what God is. Something more on the level of that, the basis of that, being able to do consciousness. Period. You know what I'm saying? All right. But in this scripture, that's what it means by seeing God face to face. But most people think that he's saying that he actually saw him face to face, literally. That's not the case. And then it goes on to say, and my life is preserved. My life is preserved. Now, what is preserved? Preserved is maintain something in its original or existing state. So his life was maintained in its original, right, state or his existing state. It was safeguarded, it was saved. So this is the point of him being saved, having salvation. You know how people say, "Hey, I'm saved and sanctified." That's when you had that aha moment. Like, oh, this is what's going on. Wow, wow. See? Like that. So now let's keep going. It said retain a condition or state of affairs. Retain, right? So preserved means to retain something, right? Retain it again. And generally as a condition or state of affairs. All right? So now we have maintain or keep alive. Maintain, keep alive. In his life, he said his life has been preserved, right? That's what he say, huh? As a memory or quality. So what's been preserved? Memory and quality of who he is. So when they say know thyself. Find out who he was. He found him. All right? It said keep safe from harm or injury. All right? You know he was guarded, he was protected. You know, our true self, our true life is always guarded and protected. Like I said, no one that can touch life. We can experience it, we can see it, we see it working, but we can't touch it. All right? So now I say treat or refrigerate food to prevent its decomposition or fermentation. Right? Treat or refrigerate food to prevent its decomposition or fermentation. So people keep it from spoiling and all that. We know what that means, right? And that's what most people think when we think about preserve. Right? Prepare fruit for a long-term storage by boiling it, sugar. Prepare fruit for a long-term storage by boiling it, sugar. Glad to know that. Right? So prepare food. Keep, game, or an area where game is found undistributed to allow private hunting or shooting. All right, so keep animals somewhere so you can shoot them. All right, I don't know why I went through all those definitions, but yes. Preserve means to keep. All right, and before or in advance. So it's a late Middle English in a sense. Keep safe from harm. All right, from Old French, preserve. From late Latin, prior salvare. From prior, before, in advance, plus salvare, keep. So to keep before, to keep in advance. They say, I knew you before you were created, before the womb. You know what I mean? They say all that kind of stuff when it comes to keeping. All right? They say, I will prepare a place for you. So now we're talking about direction now. This is what we mean by direction. Receiving God's direction. Huh? Talking about direction. All right? So when we talk about getting to God, we talk about salvation. That's getting where we got to go without having no intervening factors or intermediaries. All right? We talk about something personal, something face to face. Talk about from the horse's mouth. Can you hear God's word? Huh? Direct. You don't have to go through nobody else to get to nobody else. Not like that, unless that somebody else is him, is it. You understand me? But it's personal though, cuz. You know what personal mean? You know what personal mean? Affecting or belonging to a particular person rather than to anyone else. Okay? Done or made by a particular person, involving the actual presence or action of a particular individual. Of or concerning one's private life, relationships, and emotions rather than the matters connected with one's public or professional career. So they say what you do in the public and what you do professionally ain't got nothing to do with your relationship personally with something. You understand? They say of or concerning one's private life, right? Relationships and emotions, right? Rather than matters connected with one's public or professional career. So my private business ain't got nothing to do with my public or professional business. You understand me? What I do for a living ain't got nothing to do with who my God is. What I do in public is not a direct example of who my God is. No, not necessarily. Because when we are in public and we're in professional and we're in a professional career, I guess we acting right, playing the role. I'm just chopping it up with y'all right now. I'm just chopping game with y'all. That's all I'm doing right now. But you understand what I'm saying, though? That's what we at with this. But I'm just trying to show y'all, man, how these words can lead you on a great path, course of truth. But you got to know how to navigate. All right? And yeah, just to mention the scripture again, it said, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. All right? And most people say Peniel means pineal. Everybody know the pineal is technically where the enlightenment is and all that, where it's activated, so to speak. And then notice, got a colon right here. So we doubling up on what was just said. All right? They say the name is it's like a metaphor. This is like a metaphor with this. So I say, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Right? Then let's get back to preserved again, so we can remember what's going on. What preserved was, my life was kept before in advance. You know what I'm saying? My life was kept from harm. You understand? I came here. I was born. We was born. Word was born.